Welcome to a busy week in my life on board Celebrity Ascent. So we started the week off pretty well. We went to the beach, we had some time, and then as soon as things felt like we were pretty much okay, they started to speed up a bit, which started with 80s night. So we had to get the cast ready for the first opening of that themed evening, which takes place in the club. It was a really fun evening, everyone looked amazing, and I really enjoyed the dances and the performance that we got to see. My days always start out the same on a work day, so waking up early, going to the gym and doing everything that I need to do, as well as keeping on top of all of my social media and business and just general life admin planning. And then from there it was just a very big day of sewing, lots of fittings and work to be done. One thing I'm always grateful for is being able to just see the open sea and the ocean and the sky and take all that in when I have early morning starts, and always remembering to rest, recover, and take time for myself. I've taken time to practice some dance, to move, to walk. I walked out in the sun, which was really nice after I finished work, just before sun setting, and it was honestly really nice. I went around the walking track and just listened to my audiobook in a little world of my own, and it was nice to be outside and not just moving around in the gym inside the ship. Today I thought I would go through the books that I've read in 2026 so far. So these are my January reads of the year, finishing off the books that I started in December. So I started off with Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I'd read in this book for literally ages. I'd gone back and forth with it. I'd lost interest, and then I was like, no, I need to see what happens. And I just feel like it was one of those books that took forever to get into, and then everything felt like it happened too quickly towards the end. And it was nice to read. I've read the rest of the series. I wanted to find out what happened, but it just felt a bit slow in comparison. I think the very first Powerless book is my favourite, but yeah, I think as the series has gone on, it's lost, maybe because I've read it over time, it's just lost its appeal, and I lost interest a little bit. It is fun, it's got the 3 points of view of Kai, Kit and Paden, and how they all see the same situation and their points of view throughout, but yeah, I just felt like it was a bit slow. And they did have the point of view of the king, obviously, spoiler slightly, but he's obviously dead, he's not in this last book, but we see points of view and flashbacks and backstory of when he was younger, when he met his wife, when he had the boys, and how they grew up, and his reasons. Not that it justifies his reasons for his actions, but it gives the reader an opportunity to think, okay, that's why these things happened. And it was it's your classic fantasy romance read. Obviously romance, there's war, there's conflict, there's brotherly sibling rivalry, or the both of them going after the same person, Paden not being in love with the person she has to marry, and just that whole situation. And I did enjoy, but I didn't love it as much as when I read the first book in the series. So that was a good book to finish and then get ready for the books that I really needed, wanted, had to read at the start of the year. The next book that I read, I had in physical, which was Onyx Storm, and I read this so much quicker than I anticipated. It's thick, it's chunky, it's very long, and it's got 527 pages. So I was ready for this to take the entire month, but I read it in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. And I think it's because I made time for it. I wanted to know what happened. I was invested in the characters, in the series, and I just made time for reading. I've been waking up in the morning to read, and then before I go to bed trying to read at least a chapter or a couple of pages. This was nice because it had really short chapters. Like, some of them were longer than others, but averaging between like 3 and maybe 9 pages long, and that makes me want to keep reading because I'm like, oh, there's only 3 chapters left, 3 pages left, or oh, there's only a little bit left. And then I was getting closer to the end, and the end kind of snuck up on me, and one minute I had like what felt like a chunk, the next minute I had nothing, and I got to the end and I just sat there because I don't know what it means. I don't know the outcome. I need to know the outcome. I was really excited to get to the end, but now I'm just waiting. And I don't know when the next one's even gonna come out, and it needs to come out soon because it was really good. It was so good, and it was nice to read a physical book as well, but that just means now until I go home from the ship I have to read ebooks instead, which is fine, but there's nothing like a physical book and a hardback. Yes, it was a big one to bring with me, but it was worth it. I couldn't wait a month to go home and finish it. So yeah, that was a very good book. If you don't really know the series, it's part of the Fourth Wing series, about this group of people that go to a school where there's dragons. You have to bond with a dragon, and then that kind of foresees how your power will manifest and your strengths, and it's all about Violet is the main character and her sort of journey through that school, navigating like romance, being like the weaker one initially, but then obviously through the series she gains power, bonds with a dragon, her romance, her romance with Xaden, her journey just through all of it, through war, and it's a really good series. It like keeps you gripped, and I like at the beginning as well, they've got a little like explanation of who's who. They've got a map because there's a lot of names, a lot of characters, a lot of dragons, a lot of like pairings that you need to kind of remember for different things to make sense. So I like that, and I feel like I've spoken way too long about it, but it's worth it, and I highly recommend, because once you start you will not put it down, and that goes for the entire series. Next book that I've read is I read it as an ebook, and it's called The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, and I picked it up because I saw it on another video and I was like, I think that sounds like the kind of book for me. So it's all about this girl called Keela, and she works in a library in the city, which at the start of the book is being destroyed. It's being taken over by the revolution. So she decides to try and save the books and leave the library to go to the island where she was born. So she does. She travels. She goes with her best friend Kaz, who's a spider plant, and I just think he's such a funny character. Like, I've got this image in my head of what he's like, because he's not described as having any kind of human features. He's literally just a plant, but he talks, he can read, and he's like animated like a human in every way except for the fact he's a plant. So they both go over to the island where she grew up, and initially she kind of like doesn't know what to do, where to fit in. She goes to find her parents' old house, and then it's kind of her journey of getting settled in, of meeting her love interest, of there's magic involved, sorcery, spells, and it's just a cute cozy book that I feel like it's just a nice easy read, but also fun. And if you like a magic system or like something like that, there's like soft hints of like rivalry and conflict, but it's not the main focus of the book, which like Onyx Storm is like hardcore war, dragons, big epic fantasy vibes. But this is more soft fantasy, cozy fantasy, and just a nice fun book to get into and read, and I've really enjoyed reading. On to audiobooks. I have read 2 audiobooks this month. The first is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, and the film came out at the start of the month, and I was like, I don't want to watch the film until I've read the book, because I feel like once you've seen the film, that's all you can picture when you read the book version. So I wanted to read that first, and when I say I flew through it, I flew through it. I put it on while I was working, and it took me like 2 days to read. I know it's an audiobook, so like I can do other things at the same time, but it took me 2 days to get through that. And that's quite an achievement for an audiobook, because it's quite a long one. I think it's like a 9-hour audiobook. So yeah, but it was epic. It was amazing. Like, I just didn't want to stop listening. I wanted to know exactly what happened, and I wanted to know right then. And it's all about this woman who has been in prison. She's had a bit of a tough like life, and she decides to go and apply for this job as a housemaid in a really like nice, rich family. She goes and she has an interview, and she eventually gets the job, and it's just a weird like switch of events. Like, personalities change of the people she's employed by. It's very chaotic. She almost can't do anything right because there's a load of contradictions, and she's told to do one thing, she does it, and then it's wrong, and stuff like that. And it's just a story of her navigating that job and all of the events that go along with it. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil it. And then there's just so many like events and things that unfold over time, and it's just, you just have to read it, because if I say too much it will spoil all of the bits that I found super interesting. But it's a really interesting read, and the plot twists and the point of view like switches towards the end of the book, so that you get the point of view of the employer and the employee, and you just see how the whole thing unfolds. So I highly recommend. And especially as an audiobook, I was reading it, but it was like almost like I was watching a film. Like, I could picture exactly what was happening. So like, I just found it really enjoyable, and I really, really want to watch the film. Apparently it's not exactly the same, but when I go home I'm definitely going to try and find the film somewhere to watch, because I want to see how they do it and how it looks as a visual, as well as just the story being like played as a like film in my head, and what I would picture it as. The final book to talk about is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have looked at this book so many times. I've looked at it as an ebook, I've looked at it as an audiobook, I've seen it in shops. Like, it's been around a while, it's not new. And every time I've looked at it and gone, oh, I'm just not in the mood, I just don't want to read it, I don't know if it's the kind of book that I want to read. But I don't know why I waited so long, because it is truly just an amazing, well-written book, all about a band that forms called The Six, and then they add in Daisy Jones later. Like, there's two separate kind of storylines, and then they merge because the two groups end up getting to know each other. And it's all about like how the band forms, how each individual person's story like filters in and changes the dynamics of things. There's like drugs, there's family, there's relationships, and it's all everybody's point of view of the same situations throughout the whole thing. So you see how everybody thinks and feels, and how like, oh, what this person thinks this, and this person saw it this way. And it's just a really interesting way of watching the events unfold and watching them like rise to fame, and how that has an effect on each of the like 7 people involved in the band. And I really enjoyed it. Considering I've put it off for so long, I really enjoyed it. So now, have I saved more Taylor Jenkins Reid books to either audiobook or read? Yeah, I have. So I feel like the books that I've read this month are kind of writing how the rest of the year will go. I have some saved that I know I want to read, but yeah, the more I read, the more I'm like, oh, let's try this and this and this. So my list of books to read is growing and getting longer and longer. But I'm okay with that because I am making time to read, which I really enjoyed. And sometimes if I'm like super tired or it's really late, especially at the moment when I have to go and like watch the shows or work late, then I sometimes don't. But I will read in the morning, I will read if I'm walking on the treadmill, and I will read as long as I've got enough brain power to read before I go to sleep. So yeah, that is my January book roundup. Next month I hope to read a few more physical books because I know at home I have a pile of physical books, but I didn't want to bring too many with me. So those are definitely going to be included for February, but February's a short month, so I probably won't be able to read as many. Yeah, so yeah, that is my January roundup. Comment below what books you've read. If you've read any of these ones, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you like the books that I've read? Do you not like them? Like, I want to know. Give me the opinions so that we can have a little conversation about it. But yeah, that is it from me, and I will see you in the next one.